Remember, remember, the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason, and plot. Welcome everybody, I'm Kari, and today I'm talking about Guy Fawkes Day, or the 5th of November, otherwise known as, today. Guy Fawkes Day is a celebration of Guy Fawkes not blowing up Parliament. It was originally an anti-Protestant thing when he originally tried to blow up Parliament, and now it's sort of turned into a more anti-Catholic, or at least it did afterwards, and now it's just a celebration. But I have 3 books specifically related to Guy Fawkes and the Gunpowder Plot, and then I have 2 books that are just 17th century in general that I would like to share with you all today. Before I get into that, I'll give you a quick summary of what the Gunpowder Plot is, because I don't know how many of you know what actually happened. So the Gunpowder Plot happened in early November. It actually happened on November 4th. That's when Guy Fawkes was caught. But for some reason we say it's the 5th of November, in 1605. Guy Fawkes and several co-conspirators, 12 according to the UK Parliament, decided that they were going to blow up Parliament on opening day that had been postponed since February in order to get rid of the Protestant king and predominantly Protestant Parliament. They were caught because one of the co-conspirators sent a letter to his brother-in-law saying, "We're going to blow up the Protestants in Parliament, so take any Catholics you like and get out." The brother-in-law went to the king and said, "Sir, they're going to try to blow you up. We should maybe, catch them." So that's what they did. They walked into the catacombs or the cellars under Parliament, and, well, the rest is history, as they say. Guy Fawkes, I believe, was hanged, and I don't think they've tried to blow up Parliament since, but I may be wrong. So we'll start with the 2 more general books about the 17th century. The first one is Samuel Pepys, A Life by Stephen Coote. I read some of Samuel Pepys' diary when I was in high school as part of my British Lit class. He's the one who wrote about the Great Fire of 1666 in London that was started by a baker. I mean, not intentionally, but a spark flew out of his oven and lit up London like nobody's business. That is also the reason that there are no thatched roofs allowed in London anymore, except for the Globe Theatre that was rebuilt. So I'm very excited about this book because I get to learn more about Samuel Pepys and more about just what was happening in the 1660s in general. Specific book is A Coffin for King Charles by C.V. Wedgwood. This is also a nonfiction, and obviously it's about the trial and execution of Charles I, which was in 1648 to 49. It's technically, this book is the last in a trilogy about Charles I. However, I know enough about Charles I and why he ends up dead and England goes into a civil war that I don't feel the need to read all 3 of them in order. So I'm not going to read all 3 of them in order. I'm just going to read this one because it sounded fun, and when I find the other 2, I'll read them. The next one is one you've seen, well, the next 3 you've seen in my October haul, and the first one is Guy Fawkes or the Gunpowder Treason, an Historical Romance by William Harrison Ainsworth. This book still entertains me because it is just huge, huge, and it's also very floppy, and the text is surprisingly small, so I'm curious to see how it goes. But this one is obviously a romance. It's set in 1605 when Guy Fawkes tries to blow up Parliament. Beyond that, I don't know. I'm excited to read it and maybe just get a different perspective on 1605. The next one is another nonfiction. It is Faith and Treason by Antonia Fraser. I've read some other works by Antonia Fraser and I really enjoyed them. And since I only know kind of the bare bones of what happened on Guy Fawkes Day, it'll be really fun to read this book and figure out more of the details behind the conspiracy and trying to blow up Parliament, all that sort of stuff. And the next one is another fiction. This one is set on Guy Fawkes Day, but in the 1920s. It's called The Gunpowder Plot by Carol Dunn. I don't know much about that, but a murder mystery set in the 1920s sounds pretty fun to me, so I'm obviously quite excited to read this, and it's fairly short, so I should be able to just fly through it. And then the last thing I have to show you guys isn't a book, but I am subscribed to National Geographic History because I'm a history nerd and it sounded like fun and it was cheap enough. So this bi-monthly issue has an article about Guy Fawkes with the nice V for Vendetta mask over there. Guy Fawkes, The Plot to Kill the King. I suspect it'll be sort of a skimming version of the Antonia Fraser book, but I'm excited to see it because it's always worth reading something from a different perspective. Those are all of the things that I am recommending for Guy Fawkes Day, if you have any interest in it whatsoever. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up and hit that subscribe button down below if you want to see more content like this. I will leave my Goodreads linked down below as always, and until the next video, bye!